my name is Karsten Ipsen, and what I'm going to talk about is what can we do from the Danish side to finance goods, Danish goods to Estonia and other Baltic countries. And if any of you should ask whether we would do this in Russia at the moment, then the answer is we are a bit reluctant to accept risks in Russia at the moment. But that's another story. So what I'm going to talk about is what can you do, or what can your Danish supplier do to help you finance something from Denmark. And just to say a little bit about EKF, what we have been working on quite a lot is to get as many Danish exporters as customers as possible. And as you can see from this, we have grown from a little over 300 in 2010. So now we have, at the moment we have close to 700. So there's a lot of need for export credits from Denmark. And I'm not going to say anything about the financial crisis, but that's one of the reasons why behind this growth. And actually more or less quite similar to your export credit agency, Credex, what we can do is that we can finance the Danish exporters' customers. That is this one. Then we can also give a security for payments. I'm not going to talk much about that because it's more internal in Denmark. And it's also internal that we can finance the Danish companies. But what I'm going to talk about today is what can we do to finance exports to Estonia, other Baltic countries. And what we want to, everybody to be happy and say yes. This is how it works. And what happens is that you, here in the middle, in the center, you are the buyer here in Estonia. You have a contract with a Danish exporter. And you are saying, I'm not in a position to pay everything right now. If you purchase for 300 euros, 300,000 euros, 500,000 euros, then you may need a credit to finance this purchase. And that's where we come into the picture. And then you may ask, where is EKF? It's because EKF is an insurance company and we don't have the money. So we have to have a bank involved also. And the bank will provide the credit, but they are saying, the Danish banks, they are saying, we do not want to have the risk on this Estonian buyer. And it's not because you are Estonian, it's because Danish banks, they are saying we can handle risks on Danish companies, and that's about it. And then they want us to guarantee the risk on the Estonian buyer. And we do that. Well, we don't do it just because you are a buyer in Estonia and you buy something in Denmark. You have to be creditworthy so that we can do it. And just to give you one rule of thumb of how we evaluate a credit is that if you buy for 200,000, 300,000 euros in Denmark and want a credit for that, then there should be, you should have an equity of about 3 times that amount. And I think we wait with questions until afterwards. then how do we document such a credit? The way we do it is that we use bills of exchange, and as far as I understand from Google Translate, well, at least in German, it's called a Wechsel. In Estonian, it should be something like Veksli, but I'm not an expert. But it's a document saying that you owe a certain amount on a certain time, and this document you have to pay no matter what. And it means that the Danish exporter can go to the bank and get a credit through to you. So, and then we have some risk sharing with the exporter. What we call this is that we call this an SME guarantee. And as you can see, there's some steps involved in doing it. And this is from the exporters, because the exporter will be the one that we will do the negotiations with. And he will, of course, be the one that you will negotiate with. But, well, the exporter contacts us, and he will ask us if this and that Estonian company is creditworthy. And we check the creditworthiness. We can have late audited accounts. We can get a credit report from credit reporting agencies, and then we check whether this is a good credit. And then what happens is that the exporter goes to the bank and gets the document through, and he gets an indication from the bank, because you, as the Estonian buyer, you will say, okay, if I am going to buy this with a credit, how much will it cost? And, well, at the moment, the total cost for credit is around 6%. Up to 6%, actually. Some of the credits we see at the moment is lower because we are in a very low interest rate scheme at the moment. So up to 6%, I will say, will be the cost that you, as an Estonian buyer, will have to pay for the credit. And the reason for doing this is that the credits that we can provide will be, in many countries, they are very competitive to local credits, because I can say that in countries like Spain, in Brazil, and many other countries, it's very expensive to borrow locally. So, just to say about what have we done something in Estonia? Yes, we have done. I don't know if this Veksli is the right word, but at least it's in German it's Wechsel, and in English it's bills of exchange, it's legally a document that you can use in Estonia. And we have done some transactions in Estonia, and we are certainly willing to do more. And our total exposure is only around 2 million euros, and there's definitely room for more. And what we have done already is that we have been working with machines for wood pellet production. It is sort of small things that you use for heating purposes, etc. And then what is called pipe busters, which is facilities for cleaning pipes underground. So that's about it. What I have. Certainly, we want to do more here in this country, and that is my contact details. And now I've been talking a lot. I don't know if there's any questions regarding the possibilities, etc.
Gysimuset? Question? Then I will, maybe you could tell us how practical does this work if I want to buy a machine made in Denmark. It has to be made in Denmark, is that correct understood?
Well, we know Denmark is, like Estonia, also a small country. And not everything is produced in Denmark. But our criteria is that at least 25% of what you buy has to be produced in Denmark. So it's not everything. But it has to be invoiced and shipped from the Danish exporter.
Okay, so for example, if you are to build a stable, for example, let's take that as an example, you can have a subcontractor in Estonia, but invoiced from Denmark.
Yes.
Is that correct understood? Yeah. Okay.
Up to a certain limit. There are some limits in export credits, how much you can finance locally. Actually, it's better, and it may sound stupid, it's better to buy it from Latvia than to buy it from here in Estonia, because then it's exports into Estonia, all of it.
Okay.
So it's difficult for us. We can only finance up to 25% locally, or 30%, between 25 and 30, depending on some but it's kind of so local produce is not and it's better to have it from Latvia or anywhere else
than Estonia.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's some rules that we have to and also critics here in Estonia have to follow those rules. Yep. Yes.
How long is the credit?
Yes, good question.
How long is the period of the credit?
It can be up to 5 years. And we do it depends on the goods in question also. We have, you have heard a lot about agriculture. And for example, we are delivering breeding pigs from Denmark. And they have a expected life of 3 years. So for breeding pigs, we will only give 3 years credit. But for machinery, etc., we can go up to 5 years. And then the bills of exchange, you have to pay half yearly for the. I mean, you don't pay after 5 years. You pay half year, every half year. You get the.
Yeah. Any more questions? It doesn't seem to be the case.
I think, will these presentations be available somewhere afterwards?
Yeah, it will be available on the nordicopen.org homepage on the event 2015, where you can see them and get the contact detail for.
Then you have the contact details, yeah. And it's okay. I mean, I have just stood here and said that normally we talk with the exporter. We do that normally, but it's fine to talk with the buyer also, or the potential buyer.
Do you have like a registry of those? If somebody from Estonia would like to have a specific product, can they contact you and say, what is the possibility and who can help us with this specific product?
Yes and no, because it's not our job to give in some instances. There are many Danish companies that can do it, and maybe somebody that we didn't know existed. So we will not be sort of a trade promotion entity in that way. In that respect, you have to contact the Danish Trade Council. I think that would be a better idea.
Contact Danish-Estonian Chamber of Commerce.
Yes,
we
also.
will know where to go. No, so...
I got a question.
Yeah. Yes.
The interest rate, what
Yes.
does it depend on?
It depends on. Thank you. It depends. Well, it's a blend of. We have a premium which normally first of all, it's a fixed rate, because that's the only way you can do it with bills of exchange. You pay something in the future, then it has to be a fixed rate. And it's a blend of banking costs, banking funding, and our premium. And they all add into one figure, which is what you have to pay.
But wouldn't the interest depend on the risk?
Yes.
So if it's machinery, maybe it's less risky? And if it's live animals, it's more risky, or
no? It's more that what we do is that we evaluate the creditworthiness of the buyer, and that's about the only thing that can change the premium. Basically, you have two categories: good and very good, and if you end in one of those, our premium will change, because the funding in the bank and the bank's handling cost is the same whether you are a good or very good buyer. So it may end, for very good, it may be 5% in total instead of 6%.
Right. Yep.
Any more questions? Doesn't seem to be the case. Thank you very much, Karsten.
Thank you.
We'll be